And we're back. It is Tactics of Marketing, another episode to answer your questions that you have about marketing from an agency owner and someone who's been in marketing for a very long time. Today's question is about how sales, marketing, and customer service are all intertwined. And the idea here is actually, this is kind of similar to where I started learning about sales and marketing and customer service. And I've worked in all of those different areas of different companies. And the connection of them is really straightforward and simple. Those are the types of roles that interact with your customers. And so it's really important for you to be able to have a consistent message from each of those. Now, of course, they're talking to different people at different stages. Marketing is typically getting interest and giving a first impression and helping people understand who you are, what you do, why you should choose them. Sales is kind of guiding from where that first impression is and understanding that there's a need into creating a purchase. And then customer service is often there because you need to help people after they buy your product or after you have your service completed, how they can assist in getting more information and increasing the satisfaction and potentially increasing how often they're going to repurchase from you. The challenge with a lot of this and how org structures can change within different companies is that a lot of the decisions and communication and operations between those three departments aren't necessarily connected. And it's not a bad thing. Each company is built in a different way that allows you to be operating the best that you see fit. And each of those roles is very different, but there needs to be some sort of overall guiding principle that connects each of those things. So one of the first introductions that I had into marketing was a project that I was assigned where the sales team was not really understanding what was going on and they were underperforming. The marketing was generating a ton of leads, but those leads were not being turned into customers. And that was a frustration that the company had, and that was one of the things that I had to address. And what I found was talking with each of the different departments that were involved and their heads that were there. The marketing team was really firm and really focused that they had the best job. They'd done the best job because they were producing more leads and their return on advertising spend was really high. And they were really happy that they'd created so many good leads. The challenge was they were looking at things through the lens of what's happening in the marketplace and how do we stand amongst our competitors. And what was happening with the sales team was they were having people walk in and getting a really difficult time communicating what was actually being described in the advertising. And so what was happening was each of the ads that were going out were designed to target a specific type of buyer that wanted something that was focused on price. And so, of course, they were generating a lot of leads because people were interested in this low cost option. What wasn't clear and what was missed by the marketing team was that most people who were coming in that were looking for something at that price point, it didn't meet their needs. So in this case, we were actually looking at housing, and they were building different projects that had 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom homes. And all of the advertising, everyone loved the neighborhood. They loved the type of finishings that were included. They loved the look and the feel of the homes that were there. And they saw the price that was being advertised and they were excited. They wanted to learn more, of course. But that home and that price point that was being advertised, while it generated a lot of leads, wasn't suiting the needs of the people who were coming in. So that price, obviously the lowest, was for the smallest home. And the price point that was meeting the needs of the customers who were coming in looking for 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms was obviously substantially higher. And so that's why they weren't purchasing. And so it led to this disconnect where the sales team was like, you're bringing the wrong people in. And the marketing people were saying, but we're bringing people in. And so it led to a different type of conversation and having to look at who really needed to be pulled in. And it was a completely different target market. It wasn't a first-time home buyer that was in their 20s and 30s who was looking for their first home because they had their first kid and they wanted a 2 or 3 bedroom home. It was actually looking at somebody who was getting ready to downsize and wanted a 2 or 3 bedroom home because they didn't need the larger home that they'd already lived in because their kids had already moved out to start their own families. And so once that shift had happened, it went from generating a lot of leads that then didn't turn into any sales. It turned into less leads, about 20% less of what they were generating, but the sales tripled. And so if you were to look at the overall goal for any of your marketing efforts, they should align with your business goals. And in that case, the challenge was that the marketing department was doing the job that they were assigned, generate leads. But those leads didn't align with the business goals because there wasn't the right product for the person to buy. And so that's where I think this is the big mistake that a lot of people make, is that their marketing, their sales, and their customer service are siloed, when in reality they should be following the same type of metrics and understanding the same business goals and the overall ROI that you need to accomplish. In this example, it's selling homes. In other examples, it can be retention, where the salespeople are selling something that doesn't necessarily follow through on all of the objectives that are being advertised. And so the customer service people get stuck with customers that want to cancel because it's not what they thought they were going to get. And so no matter what, I think this is something that at least quarterly, there should be a pulse check to say, where are we at? What are we doing? Where are we going? And how are we going to get there from these different perspectives? And sometimes that requires having an outside person to help and having a fractional CMO come in so that it can be both focused on marketing and sales, but it's from a marketing positioning perspective, because a lot of the long tail brand elements that make things easier down the road come from a marketing perspective to start. If you're trying to say that you're going to be national, but you're only in one city, that's a really difficult thing to start overcoming without having everybody on board. So I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. And that is where each of these different departments can certainly help with the overall growth of the company and should be contributing to a lot of the marketing as well. Understanding what people are asking on sales calls helps new marketing efforts. Understanding how conversations are going on the customer service side helps create better advertising as well. And so all of these different things, I find customer service people are actually some of the best for blog ideas. And they're some of the best at helping with SEO because they want more information out there to actually reduce calls. And so I think that's something that maybe we'll cover in another episode, because we had a really cool case study about that, about how our content marketing efforts actually led to a drop in overall calls and chats that were started for an e-commerce company. So maybe we'll cover that in another episode. But for now, that is my take on how sales, customer service, and marketing all need to be connected. And I think that is something that is required in every company, and there's certainly more that you can dive into to get those things done with some excellent quarterly and annual templates. And we talk a lot about that in Tactics of Marketing as well. So get into tacticsofmarketing.com if there's anything more you want to dig into, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.